If you love stories of overcoming, revenge, and twists and turns that life throws at you, then this channel is for you. Here, each story will keep you hooked from beginning to end. So, subscribe, activate the bell, leave your like, and come with me. Because today's story is simply unmissable. Elisa began to dedicate herself to activities that had previously been relegated to the background. She returned to painting, a passion from her adolescence that had been set aside with the intensity of the relationship. The canvases became her escape valve, each brushstroke a way to express the emotions that words could not reach. The vibrant colors contrasted with the somber palette of her sadness, as if she were trying to paint a brighter future for herself. She also enrolled in a photography course, something that had always fascinated her. Through the camera lens, she discovered a new way of seeing the world, of capturing beauty in details, of finding poetry in everyday moments. The photo outings forced her to leave the house, to explore new places, to interact with different people. Gradually, the isolation that surrounded her began to dissipate, giving way to an incipient sense of freedom. She realized that her life was not limited to Mateus, that there was a universe of possibilities waiting for her, a path to be walked on her own 2 feet. The pain of disappointment was still present, but it no longer paralyzed her. It was like a scar, a reminder of a wound that was healing. Work also became a refuge. Elisa, who had always been a dedicated professional, threw herself headfirst into her projects. The concentration required by the tasks helped her to divert painful thoughts, and professional achievements brought a sense of accomplishment and self-confidence. She began to stand out, receiving recognition for her talent and effort. That showed her that her worth went far beyond a romantic relationship, that she was capable of building a full and meaningful life on her own. During coffee breaks, conversations with colleagues became lighter, laughter more frequent. Elisa realized that she was not alone, that there were people around her who cared about her, who appreciated her company. Slowly, the wall she had built around herself began to crumble, brick by brick. She allowed herself to feel the joy of small things again, such as an unexpected compliment, a tasty coffee, or the beauty of a sunset. It was a gradual process with its ups and downs, but the direction was clear. She was learning to rebuild herself, to find happiness within herself. One day, while exploring an old neighborhood in the city with her camera, Elisa found a small second-hand bookstore. The aroma of old books enveloped her as soon as she crossed the door, and she immediately felt at home. She spent hours browsing the shelves, leafing through yellowed pages, discovering forgotten literary treasures. It was there, amidst that universe of stories, that she met Antonio. He was the owner of the bookstore, a man with kind eyes and a welcoming smile, who shared with her a love for literature and the arts. The conversations between them flowed naturally, as if they had known each other for a long time. They talked about books, movies, music, and about life, exchanging ideas and experiences with surprising harmony. Antonio admired Elisa's passion for photography, and she was enchanted by his wisdom and humor. The meetings at the bookstore became frequent, an oasis of calm and joy amid the emotional turmoil she was still facing. Gradually, a new connection began to emerge between them, something light and genuine, devoid of the expectations and demands of the previous relationship. Elisa realized that she was rediscovering the pleasure of companionship, the beauty of sharing moments with someone who appreciated her for who she was. The relationship with Antonio blossomed in an unexpected and gentle way. There were no grand declarations or hasty promises, just the joy of mutual discovery, the complicity in small gestures, and the respect for each other's individuality. Antonio did not try to take Mateus's place, nor erase the memories of Elisa's past. He welcomed her in her entirety, with her scars and vulnerabilities. Together they explored the city, visited museums, watched plays, and shared meals in charming restaurants. Elisa felt comfortable being herself with him, without masks or insecurities. He appreciated her intelligence, her sense of humor, and her passion for life. She admired his kindness, his sensitivity, and his ability to find beauty in simple things. It was a different love, more mature and conscious, built on mutual admiration and respect. Elisa realized that the disappointment with Mateus, however painful it had been, had freed her to find something more genuine and meaningful. She held no grudges, just a vague memory of a time that had passed, like a page turned in a book. As the months passed, Elisa felt increasingly stronger and more confident. The pain of loss had transformed into learning, the sadness into resilience. She had rediscovered herself as a woman, as a professional, and as an artist. Her passion for photography led her to participate in exhibitions and receive invitations for freelance work. Her art was a reflection of her journey, full of sensitivity and authenticity. She had found her voice, both in life and in art. The apartment, which had once seemed empty and silent, was now full of life and color. The canvases she painted adorned the walls. The photos she took framed the special moments, and the music she listened to filled the environment with joy. Elisa had transformed that space into a home, a refuge where she could be herself, without the need for external approval. She realized that happiness did not depend on another person, but on her own ability to love herself and find pleasure in the things that really mattered. One sunny afternoon, while having coffee in a park, Antonio held Elisa's hand and said, "You are an incredible woman, Elisa. Your strength and beauty inspire me every day." His words warmed Elisa's heart, and she smiled with gratitude. She knew that she had found in Antonio a life partner, someone who loved her for who she was and who supported her dreams. But at that moment, she also realized something even more important. She had learned to love herself unconditionally, to value her qualities, and to forgive her imperfections. The romantic disappointment had been a painful but essential chapter in her story. It had forced her to look within herself, to discover her inner strength, and to build a more authentic and happy life. Elisa looked at the blue sky, feeling a profound sense of peace and gratitude. She had turned things around, and the future opened up before her with endless possibilities. The piano melody that once echoed with sadness now sounded like a song of hope and renewal. The relationship with Antonio deepened with each passing day, built on mutual respect, admiration, and affection. They shared not only moments of leisure, but also the challenges and achievements of daily life, supporting each other in their projects and ambitions. Elisa felt safe and loved, but also independent and fulfilled. She knew that her happiness did not depend exclusively on Antonio, but was the result of a balance between self-love and the love she received. Her career as a photographer flourished. Exhibitions of her work attracted curious gazes and sincere praise. Her photographs captured the essence of life, the beauty in details, the strength and fragility of the human condition. She found in her art a powerful form of expression, a channel to share her unique vision of the world. Elisa also became more active in her community, participating in social projects and using her photography to give voice to important causes. She realized that her pain could be transformed into empathy and that her experience could inspire others to overcome their own challenges. The memories of Mateus became increasingly distant, like a vague dream that fades upon waking. There was no more room for bitterness or resentment in her heart. She had understood that not all relationships are forever, and that the end of a cycle can pave the way for new opportunities and learning. Elisa valued the time she had shared with Mateus, but did not dwell on the past. She looked to the future with optimism and enthusiasm, aware of her own worth and her ability to build a full and happy life. Her transformation had not been easy, but each tear shed, each obstacle overcome, had made her stronger and more resilient. She had learned to love herself first, to trust her intuition, and to follow her own dreams without worrying about the expectations of others. The Elisa of the past, insecure and dependent on a relationship to feel complete, had given way to a confident, independent woman, passionate about life. One starry night, while having dinner in a restaurant overlooking the city, Antonio presented Elisa with a ring. It was not an engagement ring, but a symbol of the commitment they already had with each other, a reminder of the love and partnership that united them. Elisa smiled, her eyes filled with emotion, and accepted the gift with gratitude. She knew that she had found in Antonio a true love, a companion for all times. But at that moment, the greatest happiness did not come from the ring on her finger, but from the certainty that she had found herself, that she had rebuilt her life on solid foundations, that she had turned things around. The romantic disappointment had knocked her down, but she had risen stronger and more determined than ever. She had learned that self-love is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and that true happiness lies in being true to oneself. Elisa toasted with Antonio, celebrating not only the love that united them, but also the incredible woman she had become. The future presented itself radiant, full of possibilities and new stories to be written, and she was ready to live them intensely, with an open heart and a light soul. Years passed, and Elisa continued to flourish in all areas of her life. Her career in photography achieved national and international recognition. Her exhibitions were acclaimed by critics and the public, and her works became part of important collections. She traveled the world, capturing images that told stories, that moved and inspired. Her art became her voice, a way to connect with humanity and leave her mark on the world. The relationship with Antonio strengthened over time, transforming into a deep and lasting companionship. They built a life together, based on respect, admiration, and unconditional love. They shared dreams, projects, and moments of joy and challenge, always supporting each other on their individual journeys. Elisa learned that true love does not imprison, but liberates, that it nurtures and encourages personal growth. Even with professional success and happiness in love, Elisa never forgot the pain she felt with the disappointment of Mateus. That experience shaped her, taught her valuable lessons about herself and about life. She understood that vulnerability is part of the human condition, and that it is through difficulties that we find our true strength. Elisa became an advocate for causes related to mental health and women's empowerment, sharing her story and inspiring other women to overcome their own obstacles. She used her art and her voice to promote self-esteem and resilience, showing that it is possible to bounce back even after the greatest disappointments. In her talks and interviews, Elisa spoke openly about her experience without victimhood, but with the conviction that her experiences could help other people in similar situations. She became an example of overcoming, proof that pain can be transformed into strength and sadness into hope. On a beautiful spring day, Elisa received an unexpected message. It was from Mateus. He congratulated her on her success and expressed a desire to see her again. Elisa hesitated for a moment, but curiosity and the feeling that she needed to close that cycle made her accept the invitation. The meeting took place in a quiet cafe, and the conversation flowed surprisingly well. Mateus acknowledged the mistake he had made and expressed his regret. He saw the strong and accomplished woman Elisa had become and admired her resilience and her success. For Elisa, that meeting represented the end of that story. There was no more room for resentment or bitterness. She had forgiven him, not for him, but for herself, so she could move forward without the weight of the past. When they said goodbye, there were no tight hugs or promises to keep in touch, just a nod and a serene smile. Elisa knew that that chapter was finally closed, and that she was ready to fully live the present and the future she had built with so much effort and love. The melody of her life was now a vibrant symphony, full of notes of joy, fulfillment, and self-love.